It's time for session number 5 of Adobe Illustrator, and this one's going to be about strokes, fills, and effects. So let's check it out here. I'm going to go to Adobe Illustrator, which I've already got running, and today you're going to start off. It's going to be another one that doesn't look like all that much, but again, trust me, we're leading up to a bigger project. You're going to start off with an artboard that looks like this. And there are certain things that I want you to do. And I don't have it on a handout, but if you watch this movie and you use the tips that are on this artboard here to keep you on track, I think you'll be okay. And it's going to wind up looking something like, and it won't look just like mine, but it'll look something like this. So let's close all of this out and show you how this is going to work. All right, you will, once you're in the Adobe Illustrator, you will go to File and go to Open and get to Drive L. Our course is Drive. Head to period 7. Go to the assignments, to Illustrator, and this is session number 5 on stroke fill effect. And inside that folder is this file that you will need here, and here it comes. All right, I'm going to zoom back out just a little bit. Now, first of all, on this first one, I'm just going to use the arc tool, I think, and just kind of draw a curve like that. I'll make it a little bit thicker so you can see what I'm doing. And what I would like for you to do on this one is just, normally we just leave this on basic, but I'm going to drop this on the option bar up here. I'm going to drop this stroke setting from basic, and I'll just pick something else that's on here. And there's a number of them on here. You could pick whatever you want. It doesn't really matter a whole lot. I just want you to see that there are several there, and actually there's a little tiny button that if you come down here and say open brush library, you can get more if you want to explore those. Or if you're happy enough just kind of looking around here and say, I'm just going to try out whatever this one does, like right here. So you pick the one you want. When I close that, you'll see that that stroke has now kind of changed dramatically here. It doesn't look just like a line anymore. It has that kind of fancy frilly thing on it, and I can still do things like make it thicker if I want to. That kind of distorted a little bit, doesn't look as good. I could change the color of it. It's black right now, so I could change the stroke color of that. As always on these assignments, the color that you use is up to you. Alright, so that's a brush, and all I did was just kind of draw a line and then change it from that basic stroke to a kind of a brush stroke, and you can use any of those brushes that you want. Now on the next one, I'm just to show you it can be done, I'm going to use it on a shape. I'll draw a rectangle here, make that outline a little bit thicker, and let's fill that up with something too. I'm going to go to my fill box, which you might see has a slash through it, which means it's not being filled at all right now, and I'll just fill that up with some color. Okay, now the same kind of thing here. I'm going to make sure it's selected, and I'll go to where it says basic up here on the brush definition, and I'm just going to change it to something else. And again, there's a variety of things in here. Try this barbed wire. There we go. Alright, so now that box, instead of being outlined with just a basic brush, is being outlined with barbed wire, which I could bump up in size a little bit if I wanted to and make it a little bit bigger. And there's several of them on there. So whatever you pick is okay. Just want you to know that that's there. You can change that basic brush definition to something that's a little bit different. Alright, now with fills, we've just been filling with solid colors this whole time. But if I come along here and I draw, let's say I draw a circle here. What if I want to fill it with a gradient? Alright, well, let me show you something that's been hiding over here the whole time. And I'm going to go to what's called the Swatches panel. And on the Swatches panel, you'll see all these little color samples here, and they're called swatches, by the way. And yours might not look exactly like mine. I have some swatches here that I've kind of custom designed, but there's a button right here, right next on the top of the Swatches panel, that you can drop down and you can open a swatch library. Okay. Now, when you open swatch libraries, you got lots of options here, but one of them is gradients. Alright, so there's gradients right there. Now when you open the gradients, when you click on gradients, you get several choices of collections of gradients, and I could go for, let's see, I'll just do some color harmonies. Click that. Okay. So I get this panel that has all these color harmony gradients in it, and pretty much I can just drag them and drop them right on top of there. And now that circle is filled with a gradient, and I could switch it to some different gradient if I wanted to. I could pick whatever I want. I could give that a little bit of a stroke if I would like to do so. And there we go. I've got that filled with a gradient. Cool. All right. And so that's one. You notice under the fills, I'd like for you to just try out two different gradients. So there's one. All right, and I'll make some other kind of shape here. I'll just draw a rectangle here, and I could grab a different gradient off of here and just drop it on there. That's filled with a gradient. Or if you want to go back to the Swatches panel and come down here and say Open Swatch Library and go to Gradients and get a different set of gradients, you could. Here's the metals. All right, so the metals have a lot of silver, gold, brass, bronze kind of looking things, so I could drag one of those out there and try that if I wanted to. You know, you can do whatever kind of floats your boat for today. Just so you know where they are. That's what we're after. Just bump that stroke up a little bit if you want to. And that's another gradient. And I just drew a box back there that I didn't want. All right, so I'm going to I'm going to label this. This is my second gradient right here, and there we go. Okay, now patterns. Again, I'm just going to draw any old shape. I'll draw, you know, you could draw a star or whatever you want. Doesn't really matter a whole lot. I'm going to tap down, down, down and make this a 5-pointed star. I'll draw a 5-pointed star right there. All right, now again, I'm going to go to the Swatches panel over here, and I'll drop click this button, and I'll go to Open Swatch Library. And another option here is Patterns. Now when you see patterns, you've got three choices here: basic and decorative and nature. So let's do some nature. How about some animal skins? So I click here and I get these animal skins here, and I can fill that up with like a tiger stripe or a peacock feather or a giraffe spot, whatever I would like. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and throw a stroke on that just for fun, and there we go. I got a pattern on that one. And again, I got my little labels over here. That's pattern number 1. All right, for the next one here, again, just draw a shape, whatever kind of shape you want. Circle, star, doesn't matter that much. And again, I've still got this panel floating right here, which by the way still has all those color harmony gradients and metal gradients, and here's the animal skins. But again, I'm getting those from, if I go to the Swatches panel over here, click this little Swatch Options button, open a swatch library, and I want another pattern. Okay, so I'll go to decorative, and I'll just explore one of these. How about the Vonster patterns? All right, there we go. So I can drag it or drop it or click it, and it should work. Now here's something you might run into, because this is what just happened to me. I dragged this pattern on here and dropped it on there, and it doesn't look like it did anything. Here's why. Over on the left hand side, the stroke box is in front, and so the stroke got that pattern and not the fill. Well, I really want to fill it with the pattern. I don't want to stroke it with a pattern. So I'm going to click on this black box over here to make sure that the fill box is in front. And now I can take any of these and just drop them on there, and yeah, we're in business. All right. That's kind of a funky stroke, so maybe we'll go back to just a black stroke and bump that up just a little bit, and there we go. Lovely. Okay, so that's another pattern. All right, now these effect things that are over on the right hand side of the artboard, I'm going to collapse this panel. These effect things are going to go pretty fast, because here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to draw a star here. I'm going to draw a 5-pointed star. I'm going to fill that star. It's filled up with black right now. I'm going to fill it with yellow. And I might stroke it with black and just make that stroke a little bit wider, about like that. All right, and I'm going to use my black arrow tool and use that old alt drag trick that we've learned, and I'm just going to make myself a line of stars, and this is going to make it go quick when I do these effects. And you know, you don't have to, you can use any shape to do this next part of the assignment, but I'm just setting it up so I can do it fast. All right, okay, here we go. These are all special effects, and here's how they work. You have to select the item that you want, so I'm going to start with my first star. And this over on the right hand side of the artboard where it says Effects, Distort and Transform, Pucker and Bloat. Here's how it works. Go to the Effect menu. Go to Distort and Transform, and you'll find Pucker and Bloat right there. Now you'll get a dialog box, and you'll want to turn on the preview option. Pucker and bloat have some weird effects here. If I hit the bloat, if I slide it toward bloat, you can see what it's doing to my star. If I pull it back toward pucker, it does something completely different. That is a pretty wild effect that I've got happening there. Now, exactly, exactly what you do it, whether you do pucker or bloat or to what, how far you push it out, up to you. All right, I'll click OK right there. Folks, that is pucker and bloat. Now I got to select the next star before I do the next effect. The next one is Ruffin. All right, now it's still under, you go to the effect menu, you go to distort and transform, and here's Ruffin. Now again, you're going to have to preview it if you want to be able to see the effect, and you can see what's happening to the star. It makes it look like it makes it look rough. And you can play with the size of these ridges that are on there, the detail of the ridges, whether or not they have smooth or rough corners on them. All these options are in play. You can do whatever you want there. Whenever you've done what you feel like is enough, you just click OK and you got it. And that is Ruffin right there. I'll click the next star. Remember, you got to select it first before you do these effects. So I'll click the star. The next one's a twist. So I go to the effect menu. I'm under distort and transform, and I'm going to twist it. All right, once again, I'll pull this down here, and I'm gonna set this angle on like 360, and then I'm gonna preview it. Kabow, and see what it does. It twists that star around about 360 degrees, and I'll just click OK right there. And you could try a different degree value, obviously, but that's what a twist does. It twists the shape that you have. All right, I'll click my next star, and these next ones are under a different part of the effect menu, so I'll show you how this works. I'm going to go to the effect menu, and they're under stylize. First one I want you to try is a drop shadow. All right, so click the preview option here, and there it is. It's showing up. And you can tweak any of these settings that you want, opacity, offsets, and everything, but I'm just going to click OK, and I have a drop shadow underneath the star. Cool. I'll select my next one. I'm going to do an inner glow. So I'll go to Effect, and I'm going to Stylize, and I'm going to do an inner glow. I want to preview it, and I can change the amount of blur. And this color, this little white box, this whitish box here, is for the color of the thing, and that color is not really showing up a whole lot. Now, the other thing you may have to do is on this mode where it says mode screen, you might want to change that to normal, and it may show up a little bit more normal, sort of. It's kind of an inner glow. It's a reddish inner glow that's going in toward the center of the star. And I'll click OK there. Select my next one, and oh, by the way, that was inner glow. Okay, the next one's an outer glow. Bet you can guess what that does. I'll go to Effect, Stylize, Outer Glow. I'm going to preview it. I'll bump up the blur a little bit, and you can already see it kind of starting. It's set on black, but it's real light. You can see it kind of glowing around the star. You can change the color of it if you want to, but I'm just going to leave it like that, and that's an outer glow. All right, my next one is rounded corners. Okay, so I've got this star right here. I select it, and I'm going to go to Effect, Stylize, and Round Corners. All right, I'm going to preview it, and the more I bump up this radius setting, the rounder the corners get, and so the corners aren't pointy anymore. All right, round corners. Good. And then the last one that we're going to do today is called Scribble. So I'll select that star, Effect, Stylize, and I'm going to Scribble. All right, now lots of options on this one. Preview is turned on already, so you see what it's doing. It's kind of making the star look kind of scribbled. There's some settings up here like childlike, loose, sketch, swash. So you can try whatever you want there, and all of those have all of these different options that you can tweak if you want to. I'll just click OK on that, and we've got a Scribble. Well, folks, there we have it, an artboard full of strokes, fills, and effects, and we have successfully completed another round here. So you would need to save this. You need to click File, Save As, and get to your network drive. And just keep the same name, Stroke Fill Effect. You could put it in your Dropbox folder if you want to. And remember to click OK on this last box. And then also drag it and drop it into your Turn In folder on Drive L to complete the process of turning it in. So there you go. That's another one down. Have at it.